Stay up out the way, don't get your dishes splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Give me to the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Which when we slide right when the top down bit too high.
Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June. I got my boy Foster, and Foster is turned.
Man, I'm turned.
Before we get into it, let's remind the people to subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. Make sure you are following us on all the podcast aggregators. That's platforms like Spotify. Just type in Bleachers and Speakers FFSN in your search. Follow us. Make sure you hit the notification bell and download those episodes. So every time we drop, you'll hear from us. We got comments already.
Building.
Dave's in the building.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. That was a game of emotions. Like,
bro, that was a rough game.
Every emotion just went through. I was hyped. I was frustrated. Hey man, I think we got a bell cow in Montgomery. As good as Gibbs is, hey, you called it too. Foster,
what I say? What did I say?
Me right before the overtime started and said, I feel like we gotta establish the run with Montgomery.
Reestablish it. We had it early in the game.
Yeah, for sure. Lions win in overtime 26-20 over the Rams. And if I don't have to see the Rams again for a couple of years while Stafford is there,
I don't want to ever see them again because he
was lights out, bro. He was them young corners got a college education course on motion. And look, man, I told you before the game, I said Sean McVay does motion so much.
Yeah, you did say
that. It helps them. They create mismatches. They know what kind of defense you're running. They know if you're zone or if you know if you're man to man. He just does that all game long. You don't know. And they was doing damage without Pakua.
Yeah, he didn't play. Cooper,
he didn't play in the second half.
Had 7 yards, I think, altogether. Yeah. Just one catch.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp was.
No, I lied. Four catches for 35, but not a lot.
Yeah, but Cooper Kupp was Cooper Kupp. Oh, he was.
That was scary.
That was scary, man. And that was nothing anyone can do. And then they had the other wide receiver step up and make some big plays.
Robinson.
And it was like, man, and Stafford was avoiding that pass rush like crazy. Like they were so close so many times to getting a sack, and it was just Stafford getting rid of the ball. No look passes, man. It was crazy, bro.
Yeah, he had one where it was like, okay, did you really? I mean, obviously you saw him, but at the same time, like when it was time to throw it, it was not a clear line of vision. But
man,
I was vintage Stafford for sure.
Look, we're up 17-3, and I'm like, okay, it's time to shut the door. And then they score 3 touchdowns in a row. Make it 20. Yeah.
What was the final score?
No, it was no. It was 26-20.
Right. So it was 17-3. They had 14 plus 3. And no, so it was 2 touchdowns and a field goal.
Yeah.
It
was crazy, man. And I'm frustrated because I'm like, this defense is giving up way too many yards. The offense is not moving the ball. We haven't seen much of St. Brown. It's just
you saw none of St. Who was that?
It was a weird offensive day for the Lions. Like it was like I've seen them early they were running the ball so much, and I'm like, wait a minute, now this is
it was very conservative. It's typical Ben Johnson, though. I feel like Ben Johnson is usually very conservative early in the game, but it was working, which is why I feel like we veered away from Montgomery and it was time to come back to it in overtime where time wasn't a factor. When we, how do I put this? I feel like when we felt like our back was against the wall, we get away from our running game. But I feel like that's our bread and butter. I feel like our bread and butter is when it came down to it, I don't think we put the ball back in the air. I think we just literally just rammed the, no pun intended, rammed it down their throat. No dig.
So it's crazy because I'm watching it on NBC, right? Because locally here in Detroit, it's on NBC, and they didn't show the play, the first play of overtime or the kickoff. All I saw was Raymond getting up. It went from commercial to Raymond getting up.
Oh, okay.
None of us here watching it on the local Channel 4 did not see it.
Well, I wasn't.
You wasn't watching NBC.
I do what I do, but but yeah, so yeah, it was a touchback the first play, and then the second play was a reverse. Or it was end around.
Yeah, they
didn't show it.
No, all you saw was Raymond getting off the ground. The commercial ended, and you seen Raymond getting up, and it was like Ben Johnson called a little misdirection. Bless you. And it was like, wow, I didn't even know what happened.
Wow.
So if you were watching it locally here, you didn't see it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But it was good because they were at the 40, and I'm like, okay.
I like that. Whatever happened, that's cool. That's cool.
They were at the 40, and I think the only thing with the offense was Goff threw an interception, and he threw a near one at the end where Kobe dropped it.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
The offense wasn't what we expected today, but we see we can run the ball. We can run the ball.
Yeah. The running was available. St. Brown, I don't know what was the deal with him. But he couldn't. But J-Mo,
he had his first 100-yard day as a pro, and we said this earlier in the post game and the pregame. The NFL's on notice if he starts to play. Like if he starts to produce.
You go.
And he had 100 yards today. He had a wide open touchdown for a bomb. He had a good reverse. Oh man, it was and then he went down early, and I was like, oh no, not this.
Yeah, when you look at the replay, it was like, okay, he didn't completely get caught up under the way you worry that he might, but that was scary.
It was the way he laid down, though. It was like, he laid and was like, oh man. And I'm thinking, come on, man, don't let that be the knee. No.
Hey,
yeah. So, and you got to give it up to the Rams. They were playing, their offensive line were playing pretty good, and they had second and third stringers in there. Like they were looking for someone to help. Jody says 1-0 for show, man. For show, man. Who we got next week, man? I'm ready, man. I'm hyped.
We got the Bucks. We got the Bucks, man.
Tampa Bay won today, and they played pretty good. So
who they play?
I don't know, but
the Colts. I can't remember.
No, I think the Colts played Houston Texans. We'll figure it out. Nonetheless, is that game here or down?
That's here. That's here.
Ooh,
they played the Commanders. They're trash.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a replay of the first two NFC playoff games. It was
how do you love that?
Rams first, and then the Bucks, and then they were both in Detroit, so they literally just ran it back.
I don't have to see the Rams no more for a long time.
Maybe to the playoffs. I ain't gonna lie.
I hope they don't make the playoffs. I really, really hope
they're kind of good. They're kind of good.
They are good. They are good. And Stafford was.
Oh my God, he is crazy. He's crazy.
Stafford.
Relax a little bit. You won a Super Bowl. Like, come on, let us let us do something here.
Hey, Foster, when that overtime started, I said, it's got to score a touchdown. Don't let him get back on the field. Turn the lights off.
I'm just glad that we got the ball first because, to be honest, the defense, like, I don't know. I can't say that our defense was bad, but Stafford was just getting the job done. I mean, he had Robinson, he had Cup, he didn't have Nakua, and that Tyler Johnson guy. Is that his name? Tyler Johnson? Did I get that right?
I don't know, but the number 18, you talking about the wide receiver, right?
Yeah, he only had 79 yards altogether, but I think he had one run by itself of like 50, 60 yards.
He had a big reception, and it put him in the red zone, and he actually scored. So, yeah, it was a tough game, great game. I said I wasn't going to do the show tonight unless it was like, if it was a boring game, that was the only time I wasn't going to get on. Win or lose, if it was an exciting game, definitely was going to get on because the game was pretty good. Thanks, Dave. Dave said he's got to bail and record a show. Congrats on the win. Who will be king will be fun this week. And I refuse to say that last word.
We all won. Did we all win? No.
No, Green Bay didn't win.
Yeah.
Let's not get too crazy here.
I'm talking about everybody that's on that actually participates. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll be a great discussion. Everybody will be on their high horse come Wednesday. And what that statement meant was we do have an NFC North show on Wednesday where we get to talk with the Minnesota Vikings affiliate and the Chicago Bears, and it's Pay's turn to host. So it just works out well because if the Lions had a loss and the way his Bears won, we wouldn't have heard the end of it. Now I couldn't say anything at first, but now I can tell him that, Caleb was kind of sucky. I can say that now.
Yeah, because we would have had to shut the heck up, right? We had to just let it ride if we had lost.
I can say that now. I don't have to reserve my,
you can
my
say it
thought.
with your chest.
Yeah, I could say, he looks kind of regular. All that running around in circles that he did in college, just not one of those things here in the NFL. It just doesn't happen. We're going to take a quick break, Foster. We're going to get back to this, man. I'm not ready to stop talking. It might be a short show, but we'll be right back, though. Want to know? Lions win. Overtime victory, 26-20. Montgomery owned the overtime. Just tough running. He's a lot faster than we give him credit for. Tough running. This is what I want to say to the Bears, though. Thank you for Montgomery.
Yeah.
You can have Swift. We'll take Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But Montgomery owned that overtime. They didn't even, I think it was one play, the first play went to Khalif Raymond, and the rest were all runs.
Did we pass it at all?
I think Gibbs got a run, maybe. No, Gibbs got a swing pass.
Yeah, Gibbs got a couple tough. The one thing about Gibbs is that he has the reputation of being the explosive guy, but he got a couple plays where he fought for some yardage.
Touchdown. He fought.
The one touchdown, and then he ended up going down. Remember where his forearm went down and the clock ended up running because of it.
Yeah.
Where it looked like he had fought.
You know what? They need to do something about that rule, bro.
What about it? The runoff? Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because these are the refs that are messing these plays up.
Well, that's a tough call to make in a pinch. They do give you the option of burning one of your timeouts so you don't lose it. So I like that because if you had known that he had stayed in bounds, they give you the opportunity to use that timeout. So I mean, it just comes down to whether or not you wanted to burn it, and they just decided not to. So, because that's a tough one.
I think if you have if the referees blow a call,
they called it out of bounds though, right?
Yeah, they called it out of bounds and they stopped the clock.
And you call it, and you saying they're blowing it because they called out when it wasn't out?
Exactly. That's a referee mistake.
That's tough.
It's not a referee mistake. They didn't make a mistake.
It's a mistake, but what I want to say is that that's a tough judgment call right there. Like, who's like
getting paid to make tough judgment calls, bro?
But see, I think that what they don't want to do is to burn them for saying, okay, now that we are able to slow it down and change the angles, I feel like they don't want to be like, they don't want to burn them and say,
no. I'm not saying,
you know what I mean?
I'm not saying they can't make a mistake. I'm just saying, when you say, okay, we made a mistake, it's a 10-second runoff or a timeout. Now, say
you were gonna call it, but here's the thing.
Hold on. This is my point. Okay. Let's say, for instance, the Lions don't have any timeouts and it's 9 seconds left on the clock. Good. Game over.
Then but that's why if you had known it was inbounds, you would have called it or not called it. I mean, obviously, if you don't have them, you don't have them. It doesn't matter.
No. What I'm saying is, in that instance, when something like that happened, the refs huddle, determine it was a mistake, you play on, run the clock like nothing ever happened.
Well, they say 10 seconds because they give you the benefit of the doubt that you would get your players together in 10 seconds.
Yeah, but when the Lions lost a game in the past because the refs blew a call and they had to run off 10 seconds and the game was over.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have had 10, because it would have been hard to get it together in 10 seconds anyways. I understand.
In that instance, they would have had it plenty of time to get it together because they would
have got it together in less than 10 seconds.
It was a dead ball when they called it.
Right.
They would have been able to line up and hike the ball
in 10 seconds.
Yes, it was near the goal line. They didn't have to run downfield.
10 seconds is kind of is pretty quick though to line up.
If you throw a bomb and you have to run it high, that's one thing. But when you're right there, they were at the goal line when this happened. I don't like the rule. I never liked the rule.
I respect the rule. I respect the fact that the likelihood of you getting it together in 10 seconds and actually snapping it.
You're talking about likelihood. Let them go ahead and line up.
I get that, but they have to give you they have to do some type of.
Don't mess the call up.
No. We're dealing with human beings. My whole thing is this: we're dealing with human beings.
We're dealing with people that are paid.
It doesn't matter.
Experts.
There's quarterbacks that are paid to make good plays, and that do good plays.
But it's still
human beings fuck up, bro.
Foster, when it happens to your team and you lose a game because of that, you'll see what I'm saying.
I get, but that's
being
biased to the situation. The
reality of it is
that human beings make mistakes, whether they're paid hundreds of millions of dollars.
You can lose a game because of a bad call.
For sure. But like I said, we're dealing with human beings that make mistakes. That's the reality of it. Even Tom Brady threw interceptions.
But that's a rule that you can say, okay, humans make mistakes. That's a rule. But if you sit up there and say, okay, burn a timeout or lose, like what happens? Would you have that same energy if the Lions?
I'm not going to. That's being biased and emotional to a Lions situation.
But you have to have this. No, it's not about being biased. It's about.
You said, would you have the same energy for a Lions situation? And of course, I would be upset about it. But that would be biased to the Lions situation.
You didn't let me finish my question, though, bro.
Go ahead.
All I'm saying is, would you be okay? That's the rule. It doesn't suck. I agree. That game should be over if it happened to your team.
And I would be upset about it. But if I'm calling it down the middle, if I'm calling it from the other side, I'd say, well, let it go. So like you have to. My thing is this. Okay, so when they make a mistake, you would want them to stop the clock.
Well, I want them to huddle, get it right, and don't say so. So what happens? The thing is, if you don't have 10 seconds or timeout, game is over. Is that fair?
I mean, is it fair? Is it fair?
In that instance, it did.
If you don't have, okay, here's the thing. If you have the timeout, you use it. If you don't have the timeout, the reality.
No, I'm saying in that instance, it did not hurt the Lions. I'm saying I don't like the rule then, and I don't like it if it ends the game on a ref botching a call.
Yeah, it's not good, but you have to you have to be realistic to the situation where rushing to the line with 10 seconds, it doesn't happen that fast.
We're sitting there watching a ref call stopping the play from a booth saying, hold on, wait a minute. But they didn't get it. Not I understand that refs are not going to there were some calls that happened. The tripping call on they're missed calls, bro. And I don't have a problem with them missing a call, making a mistake. But when you say, okay, charge a timeout to the team or run off 10 seconds, and that sucks, bro.
Yeah, it does, but that's why you hold that's the strategy in holding on to your timeouts. That's where.
So you have to hold on to timeouts.
Yes,
the refs mess up.
Yes, no. In case of any situation, that was a situation. No. That was a situation where the guy stayed in bounds, and you were gonna have to use it anyways. That was a timeout that you were gonna have to use anyways. They weren't gonna. The realism is that you were gonna if you knew that he stayed in bounds, you're not going to say, oh, I'm going to rush to the line in 10 seconds. You were going to call the timeout anyway. Those are timeouts that you were going to burn regardless.
Well, if you look at the play, well, that's hard to say because what I was about to say, because if you look at the play, they let the 10 seconds run off and they didn't call timeout and they took their time hiking the ball. Now, the reason why that kind of doesn't make any point is because watching the replay, they had time to talk and regroup. So that kind of throws that out the window. Yeah. I'll admit that. But in the heat of the moment, I just don't like the rule. I don't like the rule.
So if the refs fuck up in that like half an inch situation and you want them to stop the clock and just say, stop it regardless?
I mean, they messed it up. They got to get it right.
That's why you gotta have that timeout. You just gotta have it.
I know what the rule is.
You were going to use it anyways when it literally was.
You don't know what they were going to do though. You're saying that, but you don't know what they're going to do.
Why would you know that? If you stay in bounds in a situation like that, you gotta call a timeout.
It was a minute left. You don't have to.
But that's why they didn't call. They didn't call the timeout.
But you said they had to call timeout. No, they didn't.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is that in the situation where they needed to, they were going to do it. They didn't use the timeout. They didn't use the timeout because there was time. That's the reason why. Had it been 20 seconds, 15 seconds, they would have used it, right?
I mean, you talk.
The option was there. The idea.
I can't do the what if.
But my point is this. My point is this.
And 2 seconds left on the clock.
The point is this. You hold on to your timeouts for as long as you can, so that in the event you need it, you can use it. Not just for the mess up from the referee, just in general.
Really easy to say, not knowing the course of the game.
Why would you burn them? Why would you? The idea is to never burn them.
come on, man. Don't act like you didn't went into a game with a minute left without no timeouts. It happens.
But if that happens, that's why people don't challenge. That's the reason why people don't. That's why people try not to burn them on stupid delay of game penalties, because you always have to hold your timeouts. You always have
You
to.
don't always. It doesn't.
Yeah,
always, it
but
doesn't
that's the idea. No, I'm saying that's the idea. Not to say you
don't
sometimes you
know-
have to.
You can't say that because you don't know the course of the game.
June.
There's
But-
certain
but-
aspects of the game where you have to call timeout.
If the refs had called it right and he was inbounds, you would have had to use the timeout anyways, right?
In that instance, no.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that you want to have that
Exactly.
available in the event that you need, is what I'm saying.
They had timeouts.
And they didn't use it because they didn't need to. But what I'm saying is that regardless, if it had been later on in the game, the idea is to have it, right? Is
I
that the whole
don't like
problem?
the rule, bro. I don't care.
What
I said it. You didn't accept it. I don't. That it is what it is, bro.
to stop the clock no matter what?
They stopped the clock though. The clock stopped. Are
To
you
review
kidding
it.
me?
I know, but they stopped it. But the stopping the clock is what makes the rule good. Is the fact that they give them the opportunity to get it right. They give them the opportunity to get it right.
As they should.
Yes. So you want them to hold the clock too after that and not have to burn a timeout?
I don't
That's
want
too
you
much, bro.
You're saying
Because there's two sides of that. We could be on defense in that too.
So in all, the refs blow a call, and it's okay with charging the team with a timeout.
Human, it's not charging it when the player is inbounds. That's an opportunity where you can choose to use.
Okay. Well, let's switch the scenario, right? Let's say it has nothing to do with a player in bounds or anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they make a call. I'm gonna go back to what something really actually happened.
Okay.
They called something against the Lions. The Lions were on the goal line.
Okay.
And they called something. It was a dead ball call. They got together and said, nope, this didn't happen. We messed up.
What was the call? What was the call?
Can't remember the call. I can look it up tomorrow.
Okay.
But I watched the game on Monday Night Football. They called it, and it was like 9 seconds left. And because of the rule, they had to charge the team with a timeout or run the clock off 10 seconds.
Now you say that scenario, but you got to know what happened, though. I don't
have to know. I'm telling you what happened.
I know, but you not telling me what that leaves it open for, like, whatever. I don't know what happened.
I mean, you have to take my word for it, bro.
I know your word is I don't know what happened is what your word is.
My word is it was a dead ball.
Yes.
The clock wasn't running.
Right.
They made a call. They huddled together, realized it was a mistake. And the rule says you have to run off the 9 seconds or either take a timeout. If you don't have a timeout, run off the clock 10 seconds. And the Lions lost that game on a bad call by the ref.
Yeah, and that was something that, like, was shitty for the Lions in that situation. Whatever it was, I don't know.
I don't
what
care.
Happened.
It doesn't. And my stance is
because you said what you said. It's a situation for the Lions, and I would say, yeah, that would be
my
crappy for the
stance
Lions.
is it didn't hurt the Lions tonight. Still don't like it. You changed it when it doesn't.
I'm saying it from a general perspective of
the rule sucks, Foster.
I mean, you said stop the clock no matter what, and if the refs mess it up, just stop the clock.
They stopped the clock to look at it, Foster.
They stopped the clock to look at it, but they still give you the option to get the time back, though.
While the clock is stopped,
them stopping the clock regardless is a good thing. That's a good thing.
It's a good thing to get it right, but at the same time, if you botch a call in the team, for instance, you said it's ideal to have your timeout and save your timeout, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what if they say, okay, what if you have to burn your timeout and you might need it later?
if they stay in bounds, you were going to probably have to do it anyways, or you don't have
But
to
you
use it. You have the choice of using it or not
but
using it.
but that's on the team.
Yes, to do
If
it or not do it.
if you didn't get out of bounds, that's on the team.
Yes, that was your job to get out of bounds. Either
Yeah.
because if
Yeah.
you're out, they stop the clock to get it
So
right. If you are out, you are out, and they call it out.
I still don't know. No.
That was on you to get out of bounds.
I
And
hear what
if you
you're
don't
saying.
get out of bounds,
I'm here.
that's
We
your
just have to,
fault.
agree to disagree, bro. No.
That's fair. That's fair. But you got to understand that, like you said, that this is my closing remark on it. They stopped the clock to get it right. That is the most important part. Regardless of what happens, they stopped that clock. If you got out of bounds,
They didn't
out
stop
of
the
bounds.
clock to get it right. They stopped the clock because they made a mistake. They deemed him out of bounds. They didn't stop the clock because they said, let's stop and let's look at this. No, they stopped the clock because they thought he got out of bounds.
So they knew they made a mistake in that moment, is what you're saying.
That's not what I said.
You said they stopped the clock because they made a mistake, is what you said.
They stopped the clock because they deemed him out of bounds and he wasn't.
So they stopped the clock to get it right, though. They stopped the clock to get it right.
Well, I'm correcting you on what you said. You said they stopped the clock to get it right. They stopped the clock because they said he was out of bounds. They stopped the clock because they were wrong. Don't twist my words, bro.
No. If they stopped the clock, they stopped the clock to get it right, though. To make sure it was right, not to get it right, to make sure it was right.
See, now you're manipulating the situation. They stopped. The clock was stopped because they said he was out of bounds, Foster.
So it was because of the
not because they had to get it right.
Okay, so you're saying they wouldn't have stopped the clock. So you're saying they wouldn't have stopped the clock if it was in question, they wouldn't have stopped the clock?
You keep changing my words, bro.
I'm not saying that's what you said. You're misconstruing what I'm saying.
This is what I'm saying. And I'm debating you saying they stopped the clock to get it right. They stopped the clock because they said he was out of bounds.
They thought he was out of bounds. I get that.
The refs from upstairs said, no, well, let's take a look at this because it appears to us that he was inbounds first. Or maybe they didn't say that, or maybe said this is close enough to review. Let's review it. Now they
no. You say you wait. So wait.
I don't know what they said, Foster.
Exactly. So like to say that they didn't stop it to get it right is incorrect because you just said
no.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was.
Don't train you.
You just stopped yourself.
Can we say this? Why? Let me ask you this: why did they stop the clock?
They stopped it because they stopped it because they deemed him out of bounds. But you just said
no. I'm saying
you just said let's make sure it was right.
No,
Foster, you just said that.
No, Foster, that's not what I said. I said from the jump, and I've been telling you this. You keep twisting my words, bro. I said they stopped the clock, and I corrected you from saying that they stopped the clock because they deemed him out of bounds.
They stopped it because they
deemed him out of bounds. And what I said was while the clock was stopped, and this is what I said. I don't know what the hell you're trying to make me say, but what I said was while they stopped the clock, somebody from upstairs either looked at it through the roof. Through they don't have the luxury of replay downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody upstairs said, "Let me look at this. Make sure," because either they looked funny to them, or maybe when it's that close, they review everything. Not sure. That's what I said. I didn't say they stopped the clock because they had to look at it. No, that's not what I said.
But in the midst of the clock being stopped, they decided to review it.
That's what happened. Yes.
Okay. So they did what they were supposed to do. So what you're saying is that if they had deemed him in, wait, here's the thing.
Changing it again. I said I don't like the rule. The rule was enforced. They did everything. I never said they didn't do what they were supposed to do. You keep twisting my stuff. All I'm saying is I don't like the rule.
No, Diddy.
They did everything they were supposed to do. Except make the right call from the jump.
Okay, so is there any human is there any human part to refereeing? Do they stop? Do they change it for like do they review false starts and offsides and pass interference?
Okay, once
There's a human part
once
to the game.
again,
You understand that, right?
once again, I have no problem with a ref making mistake. I
Okay.
don't like the rule when the ref makes a mistake. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
Don't like
I
the
get that. I don't like pass interference when
I
it
don't
doesn't feel like it's pass
I don't
interference, but
I
like
don't I
that's
don't I
that's
didn't
life.
say refs have to be perfect. Refs
You're
are not
kind of
gonna
making
go.
it seem like they have to be perfect,
You
though.
see, now you're saying I'm making it seem. I'm
You
just
are.
telling you. But
You said that
I'm telling you.
you said when they make a mistake,
I'm
it's
saying
wrong. They're like,
I'm saying that there are missed calls, and I said this earlier, but you didn't pay that no mind. I
okay,
said refs mess up calls all game. I even
right,
pointed out an example where Hutchinson got tripped and they didn't call it.
right,
They actually called a hold on a face mask, which should have pushed them back 5 more yards instead
right,
of 10.
right,
Mistakes happen.
right.
All I'm saying is under 2 minutes, that rule I hate when they botch a call. And they botch calls all the time.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying. The refs did everything they were supposed to do. They got together, they followed the rule, 10-second runoff. They gave them the option of a 10-second runoff or a timeout, which they just said the 10-second runoff. Everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. I just don't like the rule.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
all I'm saying.
There just has to be they got to do something with it though.
They're doing something, and I'm not saying for them to do anything different. All I said was I don't like the rule.
Yeah.
And I've seen it where it ruined the game.
Yeah. I mean,
I
I can't go off the strength of it screwed us over. Like
I didn't say it screwed us over this
I mean,
time.
that was your first example. Is what if this happened to the Lions? I'm like, it would suck, but like that's not life though. Like,
Yeah, but I hate the rule.
I would love it if it happened where the Lions won and
I wouldn't even like it if it happens, if it causes a team to lose, whether it was mine or not. I don't like the rule.
it goes both ways. We've been done dirty so many times that it's like, hey, it is what it is.
I get it. The rule is going to be there, and it's not going to change because I don't like it. I'm just saying I don't like the rule, whether it works for us or against us. And I think in this case, it actually worked in our favor.
Yeah, it did.
Because now you're forcing either the Rams to take a timeout or let 10 seconds off.
That was the other situation. Yeah, is that they actually needed the time, because
they needed that clock.
Yeah. Well, it was in between because it was like we don't want to give them too much time, but we really don't have enough time to score ourselves. So it was an in between.
Hey man, I don't trust that with Stafford, bro. I mean, for me, it was like run off as much time as you need.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to have no time left.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
You see what happened when they did get the ball? It was like
it got weird.
Scary.
It got weird, and then but Davis almost got it. If Davis had got that pick, we might have been all right though.
Yeah, it's just like I said, this game took you through every single emotion. Like you were up 17. The Lions were up 17-3, and it's like, okay, this is what we're talking about. And I think got the ball back at halftime. What was the score at halftime? Was it 17-3 at half or 10-3 at half?
I think they ended up 17-10.
No, they didn't score a touchdown in the first half because I remember saying we held them to 3 points in the first half.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It was okay. At halftime, it was 10-3.
10-3. And the Lions got the ball to start off the game, start off the second half, and did nothing with it. And the Rams didn't do anything. And then the Lions hit the bomb to J-Mo to make it 17-3. And I'm thinking, okay, all we need is another stop and a score to put us up 24-3. But here come the Rams. It's like, yeah, they got the ball 17-3. Next thing you know, it's 10-3. You know what I'm saying? I mean, 17-10. Then I think they kicked the field goal to make it 17-13. God bless you. Then they kicked, then they scored a touchdown to make it 2017. And it's like, golly. And the offense was so stagnant. It's like, bro, God bless you. I didn't have any faith in them moving the ball.
Oh, it got scary. It got real scary. Because at that point we were like, all right, we gotta pass. One thing about us, I feel like when we have to pass, we don't have that type of team. We're still best.
How many times though, Foster, last year and years prior, where 2-minute drill, Goff got you down there?
Well, yeah, because St. Brown was on point. He had what, 3 catches today or something?
Today there was no St. Brown.
It was weird.
I mean, the offense. This is how weird the offense got today. Goff scrambled for a first down.
Yeah, I was like,
and it looked like he was running with ankle weights on. It looked
that's your boy.
It looked slow motion, like it was. Oh man, it looked bad, and I couldn't help but think Hendon Hooker would have got about 10 yards on there.
Man, what?
And he's not even the fastest guy, but Goff was. This is how weird the offense was, and I'm hoping that it was just a bad day offensively.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna have another game where St. Brown does nothing. Like, he didn't do too much of nothing today. That's not gonna happen every game.
Remember the last time he's had a 3-catch game, less than 20 yards.
I'm pretty sure they just made it a point to not let them beat him, which is a kind of a good game plan considering, they outside of him. I mean, what did Raymond do?
I think
Raymond did not have a single catch.
He didn't have a catch. And then on top of that, the first half, Laporta was really quiet.
Yeah, Laporta only had 4 catches for 45 yards. Gibbs had some catches. Wow. I'm around St. Brown repping the D. 3 catches for 13 yards, 313.
Hold on, Foster. Let's take a quick break right here, and I'm going to ask you something about those stats. Keep those stats right there.
Okay.
Yo, so what was Goff's line stat-wise?
18 for 28 for 217 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Pretty light work.
You know what? And that's if you take away the interception, that's not a horrible day.
Not horrible, but when Stafford has 317.
Well, hold on. What's Staff's whole line? Like
34 for 49. So 50 attempts for 317. So that's a lot of attempts.
Now let's have some compassion for those D-backs. Anytime you get Stafford, and I don't care who he's playing, if he has 49 attempts, he's going to get his numbers.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, he did throw. Oh, he threw the pick to Kirby. Yeah.
Yeah, and was that the first half? Yeah, first half.
Yeah. That was like a goal line. One thing they did is they did stop him on the goal line
a lot of times.
Yeah,
a lot of times. I think the first half they kept him they kept him out of the end zone. I just read a message that Zeke said we trash, so he got to be talking about Green Bay.
Is that what? Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Oh, he talking about something else, battle rap. So
yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it's sports.
They don't. They got. I'm gonna give the audience some light to it. See, we got a couple of Green Bay fans that we chat with every day, and they've been really, really quiet since they ain't talk about Green Bay all weekend. Oh, they didn't even talk about football though.
How convenient.
Yeah. So, but anyway, great game tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to sleep for a minute.
Yeah,
I got to work in the morning.
Return. Especially off that stupid ass rule.
It's great discussion though. I mean, it's great discussion though. Great discussion. I mean, it's one of those things where the rule's not going anywhere. It's been in place for a long time.
Has it been around for a while? I don't even know how long.
It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
10-second runoff or a timeout. And I think we actually had a show where we talked about the rule.
We probably have.
We have. And I have the same stance on it. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. I guess, in a close game, you just got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is
That's
to
the only
not
way.
burn timeouts on stupid like delay games, and because that's the only early in the game. That's the only reason why you call a timeout is delay games, right? Or like injuries or something like sometimes.
Personnel,
Or yeah, like
wrong, wrong
or
play.
12 man, and you see it.
Yeah.
But those are stupid mistakes you make.
Well, there's also
Sure.
timeouts. Like, let's say, for instance, that you call the right play and they're set up all for it, and it's wrong.
Well, you just don't burn it. You just don't burn it. You if you know the game's going to be close or the game is already close, you can't burn it.
I mean, but like the human error, there's the human error aspect of that.
Yeah. But you have the choice to call timeout or to ride it out.
Yeah. Now, I had no arguments with me on that.
It is a choice. It is a choice.
So it's just, nobody's going to play mistake-free ball though, Foster.
No. But mistake-free ball and deciding to call a timeout is two different things. You don't have to call a timeout. You never have to call a timeout.
No, in certain situations where you're taught to call a timeout if something's wrong.
But
those timeouts they're not just to save time on the clock for you to execute at the end of a game, or what I'm saying, those timeouts.
But that's really what the timeouts are for, though, right?
Says who?
I mean, you can burn them all you can burn them all at the beginning of the third quarter if you want to, but it's stupid.
Have you ever watched a game?
I've seen it, but what I'm saying is that
No.
The coach is always pissed when they do that.
I'm gonna ask you, but sometimes it's the coach calling the timeout.
I know, but they're pissed when they have to do it, though. They're not happy about it because they're for later.
But have you ever watched a game before and said, call timeout?
Yes. But I don't want it to happen.
I'm pretty sure nobody wants it to happen.
Right. Yeah, but it's a choice that you make, though. They're for the end of the game. They're not for the beginning of the game. That's why the 2-minute warning is so important, because you want that, because that's a fourth timeout in a sense.
It's tough to say, man.
You want to save them. You don't want to.
You do.
That's why they. That's why they count them, and
you do want to save them. You need them, but it's not ideal. And then sometimes you have a situation, Foster, where you save them, and you just have them at the end of the game for no reason. And there's times where you could have called.
If it's for no reason, you won. You won the game.
That's not necessary
for the most part. I know there's always anomalies, but if you have them at the end of the game, the one you didn't call in the beginning of the third quarter, you're not worried about it for the most part. I know there's always anomalies.
But you just said you call them at the end of the game. That's what they're used for.
Yeah, because that's it. Because if it's close, that's when you want to use them. You don't want to. If it's a close game, you don't want to use them in the third quarter.
Let's say you're a defensive coordinator. You got a play called up, and they do some kind of motion shift, and this play is going to kill you. You just roll the dice and hope they don't execute, or do you call timeout?
It means way more at the end. The bread is made in the fourth quarter in under 5 minutes. It's not made in the third quarter. It's just not.
I don't know about that one.
It's not. You're talking about the anomaly situation. I'm talking about the majority. You're talking about the anomaly. No one's worried about.
If it's a perfect science, then everybody would have 3 timeouts at the end of the game.
For the most part, they hold on to them to the end. People don't use them in the third quarter unless something really.
You've never seen them call timeout.
I'm not saying you're talking about the once again. You're talking about you've never seen. I'm talking about the end. I'm talking about the majority. You're talking about the anomaly. You're talking about
majority of the time they use their timeouts when something goes wrong. Like
the majority of the time, it's at the end. It's not for you to say you've never seen it. I have seen it.
I didn't say that. I never said I've never seen it. I said majority of the time they use their timeouts and they don't save them for the end of the game. That's what I'm saying.
When do they
regardless of let me clarify this.
Please.
People, coaches are using timeouts throughout the game, not to save them at the end of the game. That's what they're doing most of the time.
It's half by half. So of course the first half doesn't count into the second half, right?
Yeah.
So in the second half, the majority of the time they're used in the fourth quarter.
But I've seen them use timeouts in the third quarter.
Of course.
In about every game I've ever seen. So you can't tell me that nobody uses
every game they're using the third.
So you're telling me nobody uses a timeout in the third quarter ever?
I didn't say that. I didn't say never. I'm saying
hardly ever.
Yeah.
I disagree. Respectfully, I disagree. I think the game dictates whether they're going to call timeout because they use them for other things besides waiting for the end of the game.
The idea is to use them at the end. If you have to use it, I guess. But a lot of times when you see a coach calling a timeout in the third quarter, they're like, I didn't want to use this timeout, but screw it, I'm using it.
I mean, whether they want to or not, it gets done.
So, like I said, the idea, the concept, the point is to use it later.
Of course, the idea is.
Yeah, I'm not saying they've never used a timeout in the third quarter. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is that the idea, the strategy is to have those to utilize late in the game for the crucial points of it. No one has ever made their bones off of what they did in the third quarter. They make it in the fourth quarter.
A lot of games aren't close and crucial, though.
If they're not close and crucial, then it doesn't matter. But like the reality is that the game is to use it is to plan for a close game. Like, yeah, they're not all close, but that's a whole different story. If you're getting smoked, you're getting smoked. That's a totally different situation. We saw today. When did you want the timeouts to be used? Later in the third quarter? You wanted them when we were in overtime, going into overtime. You wanted 3.
My stance is the game dictates whether you're going to use those timeouts or not. And I don't see that. I didn't see situation where the Lions needed a timeout in the third quarter of this game because there weren't any things that they used it for. They lined up and they played every single down just about.
I mean, you don't know what was going on during the game. I mean, you saw what you saw, but you don't know if they had signed for cover 2 when they needed cover 3. Like, you wouldn't have saw that, right?
No, just like you wouldn't have saw certain
absolutely. But
I'm saying they didn't. The game usually dictates whether and if they had cover 2 and decided they needed to be covering 3 and said, let's roll with it. That's what it was.
And you know why you do that? Because you wanted it in the fourth quarter. You wanted that timeout.
It just depends on this. It depends that situation. That's situational football. For instance, tight game in the third quarter. And this play is crucial. This, you know what I'm saying? You might want to call timeout. I don't know. I'm just saying it happens. And it happens.
I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying that ideally you want 3 timeouts to utilize, especially if they're running the ball and you gotta conserve the clock. You want all 3 of those timeouts.
What if your players are tired?
If your players are tired, they're gonna be tired in the fourth quarter, not the fucking third.
I'm just saying.
If they're tired, they're going to be real tired in the fourth.
So you just don't call timeout to the fourth.
No, you don't burn a timeout for being tired in the third, because they're not going to be any better in the fourth quarter because you call timeout. Like, you call a sub before you do that. They're gonna be tired in the fourth. That ain't gonna do it. That's just not. It's just gonna be way more crucial in the fourth. Nobody said Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the best quarterback in the world because he was good in the third. No,
you're mentioning things like they don't happen.
I'm not saying they don't happen. I'm just saying as far as prioritizing, because it's all about prioritizing. Like, yeah, there's times where you need a timeout in all times of the game, but if you're prioritizing, you want it at the end of at halftime, or you want to burn it early in the first quarter. Of course, it's around halftime. That's just the reality. That's when you're up against it.
Taken in the first quarter.
Yeah, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that they don't use them in the first quarter, but ideally you want to save them. That is the whole point of them. That's to have them at the end.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying that nothing is really, really ideal.
Ideally, you want them at the end of the.
You would like them. You would love to have 6 of them if you could, but the game.
That is not a good example. That is not a good example.
I mean, you could drive a car with your feet, but it's not a good idea.
You want to set up ideal situations, just like having a good quarterback or a bad quarterback. Like you want to work towards the ideal part of it, not the fact that I wish I had 3 good.
There's not ideal situations.
There are ideal situations.
It's just ideal situations. Sometimes the game doesn't allow you to have.
What's the point of a game plan? What's the point of a game plan if you're
everybody got a game plan till they get punched in the mouth?
Yes, but yeah, so I guess you adjust to it, but you have an idea of what you want to happen, though. That's the reason why they prepare, and they don't just, well, we're just going to show up and just, I know that it's not going to go the way that I want my plan to go, so I'm just going to show up and just see what happens, right? No, you plan. You have ideal situations.
You don't change plans in the game?
You do.
Okay.
You do. But like I said, the whole point of it is that you want 3 timeouts at the end. You want that for any situation.
Which is my point.
Of course.
Plans change. You can have a game,
but you continue to plan for a specific outcome, no matter what. You plan for the outcome.
But I get that. That plan doesn't change. Your outcome, what you want to see, doesn't change. However, you may have to change your game plan mid-game.
And this is what it comes back to. It comes back to the fact that you had to burn one later on. And that's why ultimately you plan to have as many. Of course, you may not have those timeouts at the end, but your plan to begin with was to have it at the end of the day. Was to have that timeout at the end of the day. So you don't have to worry about that. You want that timeout. I know it doesn't. You don't always have those to deal with. You don't always have that timeout to burn, but the plan is to have it, though.
I mean, it would be nice.
It is. No, that's the plan. Nice. That is the plan. You have a plan. I know they have. I know.
But, and they don't always go as planned. You don't always have 3 timeouts in the fourth.
And you don't always have your starting receiver. But that's the plan going into it, though.
Yeah, and sometimes that stuff changes. And
so I guess the rule is shitty when you don't have that. When you don't have that timeout, but that's why you maneuver your situation around the fact that you want at least a couple, 1, 2, 3, like that's what you're working towards. I know that's not the way it ends up being, and that you may have to call one because it's a delay game, or you got 12 people on the field and you don't want the 5 yards. But the plan was to have that timeout, no matter what mess ups happen early in the game. The plan was to have that timeout. And if you don't have it, that's your problem.
I'm willing to bet that most head coaches have given the green light to a quarterback to call timeout when he sees fit.
Yeah, because you're praying that you don't need it later, but you wanted that timeout
I'm just
there
saying,
though.
whether you need it later or not,
Right.
what I'm saying is, because if that was the case, quarterbacks wouldn't call timeout. When they line up and they see stuff and they doesn't matter what quarter it is, if they've you've seen it.
I've seen it with my own eyes, but the plan is to have it, and for that exact reason, so you
Plan.
can use it in the event that even if the ref doesn't mess up, you want to, let's say you genuinely fall before you get out of bounds. That's why you want that timeout. Screw the refs messing it
So
up, because the refs are going to mess it up.
you're saving your timeouts in the midst of a game, no matter what happens, just in case the refs have to employ that rule.
It's not about the rule. You might genuinely not get out of bounds and need that timeout. It's not for the ref's mistake. It's for the reality that you really might need
you
it.
can do to stop the clock, though. Folks.
But that time still goes. What you got to understand is that when a man goes down, you are going to burn about 10 seconds. There's a science to it. They didn't say burn 10 seconds.
In that
just
instance,
because.
they had 1 minute and 2 seconds left. They're down 3.
Yes, that particular. But you say you don't like the rule. That rule has nothing to do with that specific situation. That rule has to do with any time.
But you're discussing that instance. That's why I touched on that.
No. You say you don't like the rule anyway.
I don't like the rule at all. But you
exactly.
talked about that instance, and I just
no. I'm talking about in the event that you literally don't go. Not the refs messing up. You literally don't make it. It's not even a question, and you don't make it out. You want the timeout for that.
This is the thing, though. That rule takes place under 2 minutes, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. 2 minutes left, under 2 minutes. Let's say it's 1:57, 1:58, 1:50. You can get to the line and spike the ball and stop the clock.
In how much time?
Don't know, but you can stop the clock without a timeout.
In how much time?
I don't know, Foster. It depends.
That's why the 10 seconds, because it's going to take 10 seconds to get back to the line. You're not going to fall, and everybody's not going to get lined up that fast.
I'm not debunking that. I'm debunking you're saying you need those timeouts to stop the clock or whatever in those instances.
You don't have to use that timeout. You don't have to use it. You don't have to use it. You don't like it because you don't like it because of the timeout.
You jumping over. I'm going from. It's been established I don't like the rule. So I'm not even going in. That's not even an argument. That's not even up for debate.
Right.
All I'm saying is when you're talking about stopping the clock and needing timeouts to stop the clock, I'm saying there's other ways to stop the clock. And that's why they don't prioritize keeping timeouts to stop the clock at the end of the game.
So they bank off that rule to stop the clock. That's what you're saying.
I didn't say anything about a damn rule. I said stopping the clock, needing to stop the clock on offense. That could very well. That doesn't have anything to do with the defense, of course. Right. But I'm just saying, as far as stopping a clock, there's other ways. There's ways you can stop the clock. And that's why a lot of offenses, when they go out there and they see something wrong, they call the timeout because they're not worried about what's going on. They're trying to get things right then and there in the moment. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get things right there in the moment. They're not thinking about the next play or the third or the fourth quarter if they're in the third quarter and they have to call timeout, because we've seen them call timeout. And if they have to stop the clock when they need to in the fourth quarter while they're driving, because you rarely see a defense call timeout.
Right. That's
rare. But offenses, they know they have to stop the clock some other way. They do it. And they have. The right before half, this game, Stafford went right down the field with less than a minute, with a minute and some change. Scores 10-3. And he went right down the field. He didn't call no timeouts.
Yeah, he was doing.
He threw an interception, and he wound up throwing an interception, but he got right down the field.
In that scenario, yes, he did.
That's all I'm saying is they don't think let's save these timeouts because from an offensive standpoint, because they can do other things. Incomplete pass to stop the clock. A false start can stop the clock. I don't know if they changed the rule.
So if timeouts
I don't
are
know if they
not,
changed the
so if
rule.
timeouts are not
Don't
that,
quote me.
if the
I mean,
timeouts
I
aren't
never
that
said
important,
that.
then
I never said that. Never said that.
I mean, you said they don't need the timeouts. So
You
what is
twist
it?
my words, bro. I'm telling you the reality of what's going on, and you've seen it, and you've seen the examples I've said. I did not say they don't need the timeouts, and they're not important. Don't do that, bro. You've been doing that all night.
You said that you don't like it. You don't like the rule because what? I'm not even gonna tell you what you said.
I'm not even going to go back there and because I'm tired of saying it. I don't like the rule because I feel like you're penalizing a team because you made a mistake. What if I don't want to call? I don't want to call timeout. I don't want 10 seconds run off. You messed the call up. That's what I'm saying.
So do you want them to get it right or not?
They get it right. The rule is in place. All I'm saying is you can't say just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's the end all be all. Don't like it. You can't change my opinion, folks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about solutions. I'm not about just saying I don't like it.
There's no solution to it. That's
okay. Fair. I mean, I'm about solution. Like,
okay.
You not liking it is like.
Let me ask you this: there's certain things in your very life that you don't like, but it is what it is. Correct?
Yeah. I'm just about solution. I'm about solution. So like,
no,
if there's no solution to it, then it's like
it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
There's no solution to it. It is what it is.
I guess that's
one day you're going to die. You don't like it, but it's going to happen.
It's dark. Well, I gotta die.
I'm just saying, man. I just wanted to be something that you can't dispute. Because if I leave any room for error, you're gonna say, "Well,
I'm about solution. You about you don't like it. I mean, I'm about solutions. That's all.
There's no solution to it. It is what I don't like the rule.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, let's for instance, right? Let's say I don't like the way Gamble gambles on fourth down. It is what it is, bro. Whether I like it or not, there's no solution to it. He's going to coach the way he coaches.
Now, there's also statistics to determine like whether like the gambles help. There's that too.
I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with my preference.
Yeah. But once again, that's where I'm like, you're just basing it off of like or not like, and I'm like more of a statistic analytic part of it. Like, I guess you can say, a person could say they don't like it, but like
that's robotic, I guess.
No. Sports is literally built on numbers and statistics. It's built on that. Literally,
everything you like or dislike about sports is backed by a number.
Nah, I mean,
backed by stats.
No, I guess my whole thing is that like you want to win or you want to lose. Like, I guess you can not like it, but it's like you like winning.
You're making no sense. That just
no. It makes perfect sense. You can say I don't like it. I don't like that he gambles, but it's like, okay, do you want to? If he's 70% on fourth down, like screw that that the person doesn't like it. Like, do you want to win or do you want to lose? Like, there's numbers that go with it.
Is it 70% that he wins?
No. I don't know. I'm just saying that that's where
that changes. That could change one's perspective on whether they like it or not.
What I'm saying,
you just went 70% to 30.
No. But it was an example. So like my example is that like a person. I'm not even saying I don't know if you really feel that way, but my whole thing is this: if you cannot like it, but if it tends to lean towards us winning 13 games, 12, whatever many games we won, it's like it's kind of silly to not like it though. If it helps you win, like
you're creating a scenario that is not there.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying though. Just like you, like I don't know if you really feel that way, but like
I don't feel that way. I just threw an
right.
example out.
But and
I
my
like
and
the way,
my
I
example was
like
that
the gambles he does.
right, and my example was that if a person didn't like it, my retort would be, doesn't it help us win? Type shit,
My
like
thing is whether the play works or not, it keeps the defense on edge. You're not
right.
comfortable with what everything is in. Sometimes it's not when you gamble, especially when you gamble early. It's not always you want it converted, but you want the defense to
To think
always
about it
think,
later,
I
yeah.
can't be too comfortable because so for instance, 4th and 1, right?
Mhm.
And you got Coach Campbell on offense, and it's 4th and 1. And you got your punt. Do you do punt prevent? Do you do punt return?
You still got to think
Do you
about
play
whether or
straight
not,
up? You
yeah,
have to think. And
yeah,
this is why I like him gambling. Whether
right.
it works or not, I want him to have that same energy. Keep coaching the way you coaching. Period.
Right.
So for me, but I'm just saying, if someone doesn't like it, I can understand it, and that's what it is.
That's more, but that's where people's emotions comes into it. Like, I don't
I
like
mean,
it, but it's like
like is an emotion, though, Foster.
yeah, I know, and like I'm more an analytical, like look at the numbers type shit. Like that's where I'm at with it. Like that's like saying
You're not
I don't
all
like when
analytic,
I
bro.
don't
I
like
can
when they
screenshot.
celebrate
I can
because it
I
hurts
can
their
screenshot
feelings.
your
Like,
reactions, Foster. You've had some
oh no,
tonight.
no, no. I know, but yeah, no, I understand that I understand that I have emotions. I'm a human being. I breathe air, but at the same time, it comes back to it comes back to analytics when it's all said and done. Like it's
It just
like
depends on what you're talking about.
I'm just saying in that particular situation, you don't like the rule, but I understand where I understand the logic in it. There's logic into that. Whereas a person might just say,
You haven't liked certain things that were logical. I am human.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
use
No,
that for the refs. The refs are human. They make mistakes. Then I can't do that.
but like rules are pretty analytical. There's no emotions in rules though.
Okay. And I accept the rule. I know the rule. I know what it is. I just simply don't like it. Period.
I just want to give you the logic. That's all.
I mean, there's nothing to have logical about my preference. It's either
I just want to give you the logic in it. I just want to give you the logic.
I mean, you're talking about like and logic, emotions and logic that don't mix.
I know. That's why. That's
And
my problem.
I'm and just like you and everybody else watches a game and they have like, love, hate, don't like, all in anger, all those are involved in sports.
As long as you know there's logic in it and it's not from a place of like
I never said where it came from.
I'm trying to screw over the
I
lines.
never said where it came from.
You said, how would you feel? And I was like, I
What does
wouldn't
that
like
have
it.
to do with what they
That's what you
came
said. You said, how
I
would
know
you
what I
feel if
said.
it hurt the
I
Lions? And I
know,
said,
and
that's not what it's about.
you changed your stance.
I said I wouldn't like it, but I understand the logic
So
in it.
okay, I'm done.
I'm giving you the logic. I'm giving you
It's okay for you not to like a situation, but I can't. I have to go by numbers and analytics.
Well, you said the Lions, like the Lions is like the only team that plays and they make the rules
But
to
I
like
also said it doesn't matter who it is. I don't like the rule.
no, you started with your premise of how would you feel about Lions? I said, I wouldn't like it, but I understand the logic in
My
it
premise
regardless.
is I don't like the rule. That's not my premise. I asked you a situation whether you had the same energy if you didn't if something happened
I wouldn't
and you
like it.
said I don't like it.
But
If
I understand the logic in it. I understand that
I
that the
understand the
idea
logic.
is to have timeouts left so
I
that
understand the
you
logic
can
in it
utilize
as
them.
well. I understand the logic. I just don't like it. I understand the logic.
That's fair.
So if I don't understand the logic, that doesn't mean I have to agree with it or like it.
You ought to understand the logic in it.
Just said I understand. You
said I don't. You said if I don't understand the logic.
No, I didn't say that. I said I understand the logic. That doesn't mean I like it.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm
It happens. There's stuff that happens logically all the time that we as humans just don't like. It's life.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. As long as you understand the logic in it, because we spent a lot of time talking about like the value in timeouts and stuff, and that wasn't about
in reality of it all. 10 seconds probably would have ran off the clock by the time they got.
You tried to say it wouldn't. You tried to say it wouldn't at some point. I feel like, but
I'd said you don't know, but I'm saying it's probable. But if you move, let's say for instance,
they have to use some level of
hold on, Foster. Let's say for instance, that's something that we can't measure because, for instance, that play wasn't a bomb down the field. You've seen it. You've seen people line up. I've seen in 9 seconds a team run from the sideline and set up for a field goal and hike the ball under 10 seconds.
Maybe.
I've seen it.
Yeah, but they have to use some level of, you know what I mean? Come on, like we have to use some level of
my logic
something.
is we don't know what they do. We don't know if they could have got the ball hiked in 10 seconds. I don't even think that was their intention to hurry up and get their ball because it didn't hurt the line.
So taking feelings out of it, what do you do in that situation? I know that you don't like it, but what do you genuinely do in that situation? I'm talking about if you really have to make a decision, how do they gauge that?
I think the part that bothers me the most is that if you don't have timeouts, it is what it is. If you just simply say, okay, 10-second runoff because it would have took 10 seconds anyway, I get that. And if the game is over, so be it. But don't say because I don't have a timeout, you're going to run 10 seconds. If you want to run 10 seconds off, cool. Because that would if you're saying that's what happened, if that's the study and that's the thing that says, okay, because everything is analytics and everything, so they probably know how long the average time it takes to get from the end of a play to get lined up, right?
Like a real play.
So if you have it, because it's only right in that situation, in that particular situation, because there are dead ball fouls that's happened to as well. But in that particular situation, if you run the 10 seconds off and say this is what it would have been anyway. Meanwhile, because if you just do that, the Lions were on the sideline waiting for them. They're regrouping. The Rams are talking to their coach. They're regrouping. I'm just saying, if you say, okay, 10-second runoff because the clock would have been running in that situation, cool, but it's not the same for every single situation. That's why I don't like the rule. It's not the same on every situation.
Yeah, no, it never is, but you gotta do something.
But it's the rule, so that's what we have to go by.
And knowing the rule, like everybody knows the rules going into the game. These are not rules that are made up. You have to make adjustments off the strength of that. Every rule has a whole nother adjustment that has to be made going into it.
Ideally,
yes,
you don't want to have to use that.
Ideally, your starting quarterback doesn't get hurt, but you gotta be ready for that. You have to go into it. I'm saying. All I'm saying is that adjust, but
man.
All I'm saying is that you go into the game knowing the rules. You go into it. So everybody has the same preparation and the same rules that they're going off of. You have to know that. You have to know that I might need a timeout later for this particular situation. You have to adjust for that. You don't have to. Dan Campbell ain't gotta like it, but it's certainly gonna burn him later on if he doesn't have the opportunity to not like it. He has to act off that. We can just say, I don't like it. I'm a fan, I don't like it. But he has to act accordingly. That's just the reality of it. There's no end to it. That can literally keep him from winning a Super Bowl.
We don't know.
What? Let's be real. Let's be real here, man.
Troy says we put the Rams down. Now another tough test. Yes, the Tampa Bay Bucks come into town. Is that a 1 o'clock game for us?
F the Bucks. I wanted to say what I wanted to say, but I'm gonna just say F the Bucks.
Yeah,
it rhymes. It rhymes with Bucks, though.
I mean, we have our own channel, so hey.
I'm keeping it clean.
All right. I'm just saying, man, you know, ideally you want to be able to say what you want to say. But
ideally, but I'm not though, because
you're emotional.
Now, if I was emotional, I would say the word.
You're not being analytical.
I was analytical in saying F. That was analytical.
Yeah. Let's get out of here, Foster. I mean, it's almost 1 o'clock. Golly.
I know. Luckily, I ain't got shit to do tomorrow. I mean,
you
stuff
are?
to do tomorrow. It's my birthday week. I ain't working.
I don't think you have a job. I'm just gonna keep it real. Subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on all the podcast aggregators. That's places like Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts. Type in Bleachers to Speakers FFSN in your search. Make sure you hit the notification bell, follow us, download those episodes. So whenever we drop, you'll be able to get our material. And football season is here, so we will be dropping more. Foster, we had a great discussion today. It wasn't all about the Lions. It was about the rules. I think you're right about your perspectives and stuff like that. It's just certain things I don't like. And that's just all it is. Whether I agree or with it or not, the rules are the rules. I understand the logic in it, but I don't have to like it.
Like it. Nah,
you got anything to say when we get out of here, folks?
Subscribe, man. Next,
we got a show Wednesday. Got a show Wednesday.
Yeah. We got a show Wednesday.
NFC North. I'll be sharing it on my page. I noticed when Pay host, whether the live goes on our page or not, StreamYard doesn't save it. So he's going to have to send me the video too as well this time.
And the Tigers are 3.5 games out of that final wild card position.
They won tonight? They was winning big.
Oh, they beat the dog crap out of the Oakland A's today.
Okay.
And we got a day off, and we got a homestand this whole week.
Versus who?
The Rockies and the Orioles over the weekend.
Ooh.
That's a big one, but the Rockies are terrible. We need to sweep them. It's gonna get real interesting. Just stay tuned to Corner to Copa and Bleachers to Speakers. We're gonna put the shows on there. Me and Coach got a show tomorrow. We got a couple shows tomorrow.
Good. And we have a show Wednesday. NFC North Division with the Minnesota Vikings affiliate and the Chicago Bears. They both won. Congratulations to their team. Like I said. Hey man, it's a different perspective if we lose today. If we'd have lost tonight,
you wouldn't have saw us on Wednesday. We bowing out.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
We wouldn't do that.
Foster, you'd have been on your own, man. I don't like it. You'd have been on your own.
I don't like it. I get the logic, but I don't like it.
Yeah. I got to look up and see who they got next week. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about previews next week for on Wednesday on all three teams. Outlook. Remember last year, the Lions went and beat Kansas City in Kansas City and came home and lost to Seattle.
We lose to Seattle every time.
So, and they won big today. So, So, I'm not going to trip. I'm gonna say this. This is a disclaimer. I'm not gonna trip. They don't win, but 2-0 looks really, really good right now if we can pull that off. So, but anyway, subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers. We're gonna get out of here. It's getting late. It's past 1 o'clock, man, and we up here. This show has been 1 hour and 24 minutes.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw another ad in there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, let's do that. So threw an ad in there, and so they can't say anything. So we're gonna have like 10 ads. So if you're listening, I'm sorry, but the ads pay the bills. So we're gonna get out of here, Foster. You that's all you have to say is not that's all, but do you have any more to say?
Go Lions, go Tigers. Pistons coming soon.
Yeah. Let's go.
Get your lick back. If a nugget on you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nugget on you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat.